Yo guys, what is going on? Got some more BT5 gameplay for you guys, featuring a red deck over on the right, as well as LordKnightmon, probably the best and most established deck in the BT5 meta. So I'm playing not just any red deck, but this is my version of Greymon Tribal. I've showcased this deck a couple times on the channel before, and I really enjoy it. I think it has a lot of things going for it. Big boss monsters, you can play Omnimon, so lots of removals, stuff like Gaia Force. So I think overall it's a pretty decent deck, especially because you can maybe take in stuff like Red War Greymon, who is really good against the security control matchup, but it definitely does have its fair share of problems. One, it's a little bit slow, so stuff like LordKnightmon can definitely outpace it. Stuff like Rookie Rush almost entirely destroys his deck, especially because you're going pretty low on the blocker count. But regardless, my opponent is playing the LordKnightmon deck, and we are going to see a Kodamon in the breeding area, as well as a Pulsemon on the field. I'm just going to go up and build into my Metal Greymon you see there after I ended up passing turn with the Koalamon first, or not Koalamon, the Monodramon the first turn. But anyways, my opponent is then going to Digivolve on up into the Sirenmon, passing it over to me. You see the Omnimon X in my hand there, as well as a couple of Nokias and stuff. So we're going to kind of wait here a little bit. I think the idea here was I was kind of waiting on what my opponent would bring out and seeing how I would answer it, because you have access to quite a few higher, on red level 6s on your high end. You got stuff like War Greymon, like I mentioned, BT1 War Greymon. You got stuff like Victory Greymon, who I'd say is probably the best if you're running like the control version of the deck. But if you're running just like a pure aggression build, I've seen decks play stuff like Zeke Greymon, since he is a Greymon reducible by Nokia, and the Blitz mechanic is really powerful. Then you can potentially swing twice with once with your Blitz, and then go into Omnimon and go into another attack off that can end up stealing games a lot of the time. I'm just going to play Nokia and pass. No Agumons in my hand at the moment, and then my opponent is just going to play another rookie on the field and pass it over to me. So this is a kind of a back and forth. We're just kind of seeing who wants to move out of the breeding area first, and I decided I want to, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the Metal Greymon Alterius mode for a cost of 0 by suspending the Nokia, reducing that cost by 1, so making it a 0 cost. And then since I had a Metal Greymon underneath, I'm able to delete something with 4,000 or lower DP, so I'm able to get rid of his Pulsemon. I'm going to go into another Metal Greymon, since it's not once per turn, and then I'm going to kill his other rookie and then swing a security. I'm going to also be able to draw a card, and my opponent's going to draw it there real quick, but I think he thought I was passing turn, but it's going to go over to him anyways real quick. I'm just going to play another Nokia and pass it over to him for 2. The idea for putting him at 2 was that he can't go into LordKnightmon or War Greymon immediately, but in the case that he has something like Blinding Ray, he can definitely go into a level 6 and end things off. However, he didn't actually bring out the Sirenmon, so I'm guessing he didn't have any level 6s in hand, which is super unfortunate. He would have been able to punish me really hard there, and it would have most likely, I don't want to say it would have been game, but it would have been a huge turning point in the game for sure. We're just going to see a potato played down for a 4 cost, and then Digivolved into a Pedomon for 1. I'm going to unsuspend my Metal Greymon, who, by the way, is plus 5,000 at 13k right now, just to give you an idea of how like big your monsters can get. Because a lot of the Greymons have just a DP boosting inherited effect, which is kind of cool, especially since you're checking multiple security a lot of times, so you don't want them to die. Kind of similar to how in Shoutmon you're playing stuff like that BT1 Metal Greymon and just other DP boosting effects. Anyways, I'm just going to Digivolve into the Agumon, swing with the Alterius mode, once again draw an egg off of the Koromon. My opponent thought Alterius mode was finally going to die, but nope, he is currently at 13,000. We're going to see another copy of Nokia Shiramine played for 3, and then we're going to see an Agumon played along with that, letting me reveal the top 3 cards, and then putting, unfortunately, Marcus down at the bottom because you can't search him, but I'm going to be able to search a Greymon and then pass it over to my opponent with triple Nokia. Even if my opponent does end up getting rid of my Alterius mode, I've got the resources to go into another level 5 or level 6 really quickly. We're just going to see a Spiral Masquerade played, deleting my Agumon, which is a little bit unfortunate for my opponent. That's all he could manage to do. And now that I've got 2 memory to work with, triple Nokia on the field. I know I've got the Omnimons in hand as well. It just is a matter of which level 6 I'm going to go into right now, if I do have it. But I do believe I've got the Victory Greymon in hand right now. So I'm going to go ahead and go Victory Greymon for a 1 cost by suspending 3 Nokias and detaching 2 to delete one of my opponent's Digimon with 8,000 or lower DP. Draw a card off the Upamon, the Koromon there. You guys know what I mean. And then I'm going to swing with the Victory Greymon for a million DP and then Digivolve into Greymon to round things off, leaving my opponent with just 1 memory. We're going to see the Starmons Digivolved, and with only 1 memory and a Pedomon on the field, he's also got 0 security, or he's got 1 security at this point, but I've got 2 attacks. He does have the blocker, but I don't think there's a whole lot he can do here. He's got the TK, he's debating whether to play it. He's going to go ahead and play it to guarantee himself 3 memory, and then give me 4 to start with, which is quite a lot, especially because I do have the 3 Nokia as well. I'm going to swing for the last security, and then swing. He's going to block it. Greymon is at 6,000 at this point, but we're just going to go ahead and move it on to the next game regardless. Now, game 2, my opponent is going to make me start, and then I'm just going to Digivolve the promo Agumon there. That's a plus 2,000 for all Greymons, which is a really, really nice one, especially because basically your whole high end, aside from the Omnimons, are all Greymons in this deck. And then finally, I'm going to round things off by just Digivolving into Dark Tyrannomon for a cost of 1, and then pass it over to my opponent. We see the TK, so he is starting off pretty strong with the potato there in the breeding area, and then we're going to probably see either a Pedomon and then a TK, or maybe a Unimon to pass the turn if he doesn't want to start me with 3 or 4 memory, because he knows what my deck is capable of, but it's possible he'll get a little bit, maybe a little bit impatient and go ahead and throw the TK down, but no, we're just going to see the Unimon Digivolve for 2. So a very similar opening to the last game. I'm going to start with 1 memory, and then I'm going to go ahead and decide to move my Dark Tyrannomon out, play the Nokia, and unfortunately, again, no Agumons. I might have had an Agumon this time, but I think it was the promo Agumon that deletes on play, so I didn't really want to waste that. Either that or I didn't end up having an Agumon, which is a little bit unfortunate. Because you don't get the bonus off of Nokia, but she's still really good because you can reduce during your turn when you're Digivolving into a Greymon. So then I'm just going to go ahead and start my turn after my opponent grabs the LordKnightmon from the TK there, and then putting his security cards back, and then you see the Monochromon in my hand, so that's cool. I've got a blocker, I'm at 2 memory, and then there we go. Okay, so I did end up having the promo Agumon, so that's what I was saying. I didn't end up wanting to play that with the Nokia because he does have the on play, you delete something with 3,000 or lower, but I guess I just wanted to save it for my next turn. That might have been the only rookie in my hand, honestly. So then I think a good play here would maybe go into the 1 cost blocker and then potentially go on up into level 5, but I probably shouldn't commit more to the field. I've got the Dark Tyrannomon, but I don't know if I want to commit to more to the field now that I know he's got the LordKnightmon. I'm just going to go starter deck Greymon for a cost of 2, and then finish things off by going Rise Greymon for 3, since I know my opponent has TK, so he's going to start with 3 memory regardless of what I do, and then he's going to go into War Growlmon for 3 in his breeding area, and then we're going to see a Pulsemon play for 3, and then the on play draw 1 card. So I do end up starting my turn with 3. I've got the Rise Greymon. Not sure if I had Marcus in my hand at this point, but I still do really like Rise Greymon for the inherited effect as well. If you've got a Tamer on the field, you can reduce something by 2,000 whenever you are attacking, so Nokia does fulfill that requirement of having a Tamer, and there's lots of decks like LordKnightmon that spam lots of little dudes on the field, so that can be a very useful effect sometimes. I'm just going to go ahead and swing with my Dark Tyrannomon, because I know he's got the LordKnightmon, I know he's got the War Growlmon, so that is most likely dying next turn, so I have no qualms just throwing it at my opponent's security and trying to get some form of value out of it. So then I'm just going to play an Agumon and then Digivolve into Monochromon for a cost of 1. Passing over to my opponent, but again he will start at 3 because TK we're going to see the War Growlmon come out, and most likely a LordKnightmon on top of it. There is no reason not to, especially now that he's brought out his ultimate there, so we're going to see him detach to minus 4,000 on the Monochromon, Digivolve into LordKnightmon for a cost of 3, and this is most likely where we say goodbye to our blocker here. So then my opponent does have a lot of cards in hand, so we're most likely going to see something come down. We're going to see see LordKnightmon swing, Pulsemon, and then we're also going to see the Pikmon activate the -1000. So that is a total of -5000 on my blocker there, deleting it and passing over turn after digivolving into Pidomon. So I am at 1 memory, unfortunately. I've got the Rise Greymon. I'm going to bring him out. Also got the Nokia on field, so I can do something with that, but with only 1 memory, the biggest play I could do here is like Altarius mode and then level 6. I can't go 6 and 7, so I'm just going to go into BT5 War Greymon. No point in reducing the cost, because even if I reduced it, it would cost 2, my opponent would go to 1, and then he'd start his turn with 3 for TK. So I'm just going to use it, and then that War Greymon has the effect where if you are digivolving and you've got a Greymon underneath its materials, you can delete a blocker. So it's a kind of really cool little effect, designed to just help you with your aggressive plays. And then I'm just going to delete that past turn. My opponent is going to digivolve into the Bushi Agumon. So I think I am safe from basically anything other than a Knightmon slash combo as well as a Valder So either of those would be pretty detrimental here. Maybe that's asking too much to let my opponent not have that, because I mean, he does have a million cards in it. So we're going to see my opponent swing with LordKnightmon, play a Lucemon, so I don't have to fear the Knightmon combo here, but we are most likely going to see a Valder hit the field at some point. We're going to see the Pidomon. Again, I do apologize for the glare there. But that is a Pidomon next to Lucemon there. And then finally, yep, we're going to see the Valder Digivolve for 6, putting me at 5, deleting my War Greymon. So now my opponent's got 4 Digimon in play. I've only got 3 security left, so it is most likely going to be difficult to come back from this. But let's go ahead and try. So we're going to Digivolve into the Agumon there for a cost of 0. Play the BT5 Agumon, use effect, search 3 cards, a Metal Greymon, and an Alter S you see are added to my hand there. Alter S is a fantastic card against LordKnightmon matchup, not only because it just covers the whole board, but also because de-digivolving is a really cool mechanic to get around stuff like a Chaosmon Valder or Omnimon Zwart defeat, 2 very prominent level 7s in the meta. And then I'm going to digivolve into Greymon in the breeding area there for a cost of 2, putting me to 0, I believe. And then lastly, probably just going to digivolve. Okay, again, nope. We're just going to see a Marcus played for 4. My opponent is going to unsuspend, bring out his little bunny there, and that is most likely going to be it unless we see a Gaia Force in security. So we're going to see the Lucemon swing in security, hit a victory in security, and end up dying. And then we're going to see the Pidomon swing, which I actually do think is correct if he's trying to go for game swinging with the Valder arm later, in case you hit a Gaia Force and then it dies, you gain 3 memory. That might be relevant. And then we're just going to go ahead and scoop it on up to game 3. So game 3, my opponent is going to start Digivolve into the Patamon, which we've basically seen him do every game, and then Digivolve into the Terurimon for a cost of 1. I'm going to go ahead and hatch my Koromon. That is the one of Koromon, the starter deck. I believe in this list I was playing 4 BT5 Koromon and then 1 starter deck Koromon, just because I think the drawing is really important, but plus 1000 can be nice as well. So then I'm just going to Digivolve on into the promo Agumon there, and then we're going to see a starter deck Greymon Digivolve for 2, passing it back to my opponent, leaving him with 1. And then most likely I can anticipate him not bringing out his Terurimon, but I guess he does. And maybe he's not scared of the Victory Greymon. And then we're just going to see a Cutemon played, leaving me with 2 memory. I suppose if I'm at 2, there's not really a chance of me going like ultimate and then a victory, but I'm just going to go ahead and pass turn by playing a Nokia and then playing the promo Agumon, being able to delete the Cutemon. Cutemon is actually really, really annoying against this deck because, of course, you're playing stuff like Nokia, so reducing Digivolution cost is a big portion of your strategy, so that can be super annoying to deal with, but luckily you do have cards for that. So my opponent is going to start with 1 Digivolves, the Bushi Agumon Digivolves, the Pidomon. After that, going to 0, we see the War Growlmon in his hand, or at least maybe if you didn't see it, I caught a glimpse of it. Probably going to Digivolve that at some point. And then we're going to see a Pulsemon hit the field, Digivolves, or sorry, just plays him for 3 and then draws the card off of his effect. And then I'm going to start my turn with 3, hatching my Coromon, and then Digivolve into the Metal Greymon for a cost of 2. Don't have a rookie at the moment, or potentially drew into one, but no, we're just going to see the Alterius mode, Digivolve for 1, blowing up the Pulsemon. Man, I just love Alterius mode. He's such an awesome card, especially versus a matchup like this, where your opponent spams the field, and then of course the plus 2000 inherited I think is super powerful. And then finally, we're going to see a Monochromon Digivolved for 1, passing it over to my opponent. And since he doesn't have the TK, I think we're just trying to go back and forth playing this memory choking game as much as possible. Finally going to be able to get a rookie there. So starting my turn with 2, Digivolving on up into the Promo Agumon, unsuspending my Nokia as well. Now that I don't have the Cutemon to deal with, I can definitely abuse her effect as much as possible. Now, if I've got something like a Victory Greymon, that would be absolutely fantastic. I'm going to swing security first. Now, he does actually check 2 because I've got the starter deck Greymon, and he is plus 3,000 from the Metal Greymon, plus 2,000 from the Agumon, plus 1 from the Coromon. So lots of DP there, and then going to reduce the cost of my Victory Greymon by 1, passing it over to my opponent, and then blowing up his Terurimon. So the Victory Greymon, I think, is just an absolutely fantastic card. Basically able to kill any level 5 in the game. It's just so fantastic. Now, I do have him in suspended position. However, I did not give my opponent enough to go ahead and go into a level 6. If he does have Blinding Ray, which of course is possible, he'll have to Blinding Ray and then bring out his Wargrowlmon, and then he'll have to swing over my Victory Greymon through the blocker. So unless he has Valorarm, there is not a way he is going to clear my Victory Greymon there, because he would have to like swing Victory Greymon and then bait the blocker and then go Valorarm after that. We're going to see the Wargrowlmon move out of the breeding area, detach 2 cards from his Digiburst effect, minus 4,000 on the Monochromon there, leaving him at only 1,000. So if he does get 3 Digimon to maybe trigger that effect, that could be really relevant. But no, we are just going to see a Knightmon come down. A really unfortunate because of what, well, you'll see in a second. But leaving me with 6 memory to do some shenanigans with. I've got the Victory Greymon, bring out my Agumon, and then with 6 memory, I can do quite a lot. I could potentially even Digivolve into another Victory Greymon and blow up his Wargrowlmon. That would be really, really fantastic. Just being able to control the board from there, so I'm going to go ahead Digivolve into Dark Tyrannomon for 1, Digivolve Metal Greymon for 2, suspending the Nokia, putting me down to 3 memory, and then you see the Metal Greymon there. There was also a Victory Greymon, but first I'm going to swing security with my Victory, who is at like 17,000 or something, checks 2, and then we're going to see the second copy of Victory Greymon hit the board and then delete the Wargrowlmon. So now we're left with a Knightmon to deal with. My opponent's got 1 memory. Again, he is not going to be able to clear my board unless he has Blinding Ray level 6 Valorarm, and I'm just at that point I'm like, okay, if you've got it, you've got it. But more than likely I'm able to establish my board and not be threatened of just losing everything. My opponent's also only got, I believe, like 1 security left at this point, because I did swing twice, once with the Metal Greymon and once with the Victory Greymon, and now we're just going to see a blocker played for 6. I've got 5 memory to deal with, which is super unfortunate for my opponent. I'm going to Digivolve into Agumon, and then for 5 I'm going to Digivolve into BT1 Omnimon, blow up his blocker, and then end off the game on that. So guys, that was the match. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the Greymon tribal deck, as well as LordKnightmon. Let me know what you guys think is your favorite of the two. But anyways, guys, that's going to be the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.